This is East Idaho Newsmakers with Nate Eaton.
Welcome to this special edition of East Idaho Newsmakers. Today we are talking about the District 91 school bond. This is the proposal that the school board and the school system and many patrons want to see passed. $86.2 million, a base bond that would build a new Idaho Falls High School. It would provide extensive renovations to Skyline High School. It would also convert the current Idaho Falls High School to a career technical education center. In addition to the 86.2, there's a $13.5 million addition, which will be a separate question on the ballot. That will pay for a performing arts center at Skyline. It will also provide an auxiliary gym and a fine arts space. Now, you may remember back in November, a $110 million bond failed. It did get 58% of the vote, but a supermajority vote is required in order for bonds to pass in Idaho. So we have two sides here today. We have Lisa Keller. She is with D91 Taxpayers. Lisa, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, my name is Lisa Keller. I am a native East Idahoan. I started out my school career by starting at Templeview. So I've been here a long time. My husband and I did move around a little bit, and when we came to the point where it was time to settle down, we realized that Idaho Falls was where we wanted to make our forever home. So we are here on the west side. My children all grew up here, went to school in the area here, and I'm still here even though they've grown up and moved on.
Okay, and we do want to make it clear we did invite you to bring two other people with you to come today, but you're representing that group. Here with Build Up District 91, we have Brandon Lee and Lara Herway, and also George Bolin, the superintendent of Idaho Falls School District 91. You want to give brief introductions for yourselves?
I'm Lara Hall Herway. I was born and raised here in Idaho Falls. I left for 18 years. My husband and I returned about 3 years ago when he was recruited to come back for the INL. I have 5 kids being educated in District 91 from kindergarten to a junior in high school, and I'm really happy to be home.
My name is Brandon Lee. I'm also a native here to Idaho Falls, a proud alumni of Teresa Bunker Elementary, also Idaho Falls High School. I also have 4 kids within the district, ranging from 2nd grade to a junior in high school. And happy to be here. We're grateful that George Bolin has agreed to join us today. We've asked him to come and sit with Laura and I so that on topics where he's the most knowledgeable, he can add that those data points and make sure that Laura and I are speaking the truth.
Okay. Mr. Bolin, do you want to give a brief introduction?
Yes, as you said, I'm superintendent for Idaho Falls School District 91. I've had the pleasure of working in the district for 27 years. I'll date myself, but I attended New Sweden Elementary School, Central Junior High, and I'm a graduate of Skyline High School. And both of my children also graduated from Skyline High School.
All right, thank you. We have talked about, and both sides agree, they don't really want to make this a debate, any sort of contention here, just a discussion of the issues, and so hopefully we won't turn into Jerry Springer here, right? Good.
I think we'll be good.
I promise I won't.
Please don't throw chairs. I don't need a broken nose. All right, we flipped a coin beforehand. How this will work, each side will get 2 minutes for an introduction. I then have 4 questions for each side, 90 seconds for answers to those questions, and then if there's any sort of disagreement on the answer, the other side can give a 30-second rebuttal. We are keeping time so that we can stick to the schedule. We flipped the coin, and Lisa, we'll go ahead and have you go first with your 2-minute opening statement.
All right, thanks. And thanks for having me here. And no, this is not like the David and Goliath thing. My other committee members just have to work full-time jobs, and they just couldn't be here today. But I feel that that's just fine because I represent over 4,000 constituents out there. When the bond failed in November, there were over 4,000 votes that were no. And the reason I got involved in this is the first time I heard about it, I went to a school board meeting and sat there, and at the end they approved the $110 million with one of the school board members saying, I don't care about naysayers, we're gonna go for the whole thing or nothing at all. And at that point I realized I was not going to be represented by the school board members. I was gonna have to step up and do it myself. So I found some like-minded folks who obviously, like I said, there are over 4,000 of us, who wanted to have a little better control over what's happening. So we bonded together and we formed this group and have decided that we all agree we need better facilities. We cannot agree with the school board and with the contractor and the architect that it needs to be this expensive. We've done our research, our homework, and we feel that there's just a wiser, better way to go about this. So we just call upon the school board to look at it a little better, and this is what they've come back with. We feel like it's just not any better. It's just chopped up, and in the end, we're going to have more taxes down the road. It's going to keep, we're going to keep getting asked for more money. Excuse me, more money, more taxes because of the needs of the school district. So we'd like to see the schools remodeled and updated and not turned into huge tax sucks.
Okay, Build Up 91.
Thanks, Lisa. I really appreciate that we can agree that there's definitely a need for this to happen here in District 91. That's an important point that we all agree that there's for sure a need. Now, I'm passionate about District 91's bond passing for 3 reasons. The first is safety, the second is modernization, and the third is community. Right now, for safety in District 91, neither Idaho Falls High School or Skyline High School have controlled access. They aren't meeting a minimum threshold of safety. As a mother who sends their kids to school, our #1 concern is safety, and this needs to be addressed. Secondly, the new high schools and the newly remodeled high school, they will have controlled access. They will no longer have a need to travel between different buildings. They will have cleaner sight lines for administrators and resource officers to keep our kids safe. That's extremely important, that we bring our schools into the unique safety needs of 2018. This cannot be addressed in buildings that were built in 1950. For modernization, modernization is not just about internet access and computers. It's also about lighting and space, collaborative space for our students and for our teachers. District 91 has wonderful teachers that do way more with less. But it is time that we give them the space and the modernization that they deserve. The districts around us have already realized this and brought their schools into 2018. It's D91's turn. Lastly, community. Our community is ready. As we said before, 58% voted for this bond. The majority of people want to have this bond pass. The district listened. The opposition would have you believe that we just threw this together last minute, and that couldn't be further from the truth. This has been a 3-year process of scientific surveys, extensive research, and they've come up with this incredibly well put together bond that I think the community will invest in and reap the rewards for many, many years to come. Thanks.
All right, first question for you guys. The bond you're asking for is a lot of money. You've been accused of trying to build the Taj Mahal of high schools. Could you not construct a new building and remodel Skyline for a lot less without all the bells and whistles?
So I think it's a valid and a great question. I appreciate you asking it. I think at the end of the day, it simply is, that is the cost to build a school today. We're not looking to build the Taj Mahal. If you look at local high schools that have recently been built, like Thunder Ridge and Madison, or even Rigby, if you were to build those in today's dollars, that's exactly what it would cost. I mean, our contractor has gone out, they have access to thousands and thousands of data points. They know exactly what it costs. They're able to really hone in to get that per square foot cost, and that's what we need in order to build a school. We're not looking at a Taj Mahal. We're simply looking to address the needs that are there and be able to put something together for our students that's going to last for many generations. Again, but this is as far from the Taj Mahal as you can get. It really is. These are the things, and they're the components. They may look a little different. All the buildings look differently. But the components for all the high schools are the same, right? They have the same basic needs, and so if you think that some of these schools around here are Taj Mahals, then maybe. But again, I think once you go and you review those buildings, you can see no, these are adequate buildings that address the needs, and that's what we're looking to do as well.
Lisa, Idaho Falls High School is 66 years old. Skyline High School is dated. Improvements and updates will need to be made. Why not do it now before prices continue to climb over the coming years?
Well, first of all, saying prices will continue to climb is a little bit of fortune telling, because look at our recession in 2012, which the opposition has said that's why Rigby High School, which is a huge high school and very nice high school, only cost, what was it, 32 million, something like that, about in that range. But that neither here nor there. We say, yes, we should update right now. We just don't think we need a brand new high school that moves us south of town, away from the center of town. Lara, I appreciate the same thing. We both agree that the teachers are fabulous in District 91. We do. And the children deserve fabulous teachers. But to move the high school down south of town, to just do something new when Idaho Falls could be repurposed, they're going to repurpose it as a tech school, then why can't we repurpose it as a high school as well? We think that we can, and we do feel like one of the mistakes is that by putting the contractor in charge of getting numbers and all those sorts of things, instead of us saying, here's what we want, here's what we need, give us a bid on this, that we would get a better high school remodel on both the high schools.
So that leads to my next question. For you, you've raised concerns about the process used to select Bateman Hall as the contractor. In 2014, the legislature authorized the use of a construction manager general contractor model that allows the services to be provided via the same contract instead of being bid out separately. District 91 says they used an extensive application process with 5 different designers. They settled on Bateman Hall. Nothing was done illegally. Are you using this as an unfair argument to create doubt?
No, we want people to know they used a request for qualifications. They did not get bids. They went and used that request for qualifications. Bateman Hall went out and looked at things, but before Bateman Hall did that, they'd already signed a contract with them. And the contract guarantees Bateman Hall, hang on, let me tell you how much. The architect contract pays him 7% and 9%, so for their architect was not bid. The architect he gets paid $8.3 million. The contractor gets 5.5%, and that is $5.7 million. So we're about $13 million of unbid contracts. Those contracts are signed, and we did not get bids on what they could do with them.
Do you have a response to that?
Well, I think the quick response is that you're right, Lisa, in that at this point there is nothing to bid. That contract, first of all, this is industry standard. I think that's important to point out, is that this method that you mentioned in 2014, since that time, is really, you'd be hard-pressed to find an example of a school district not using this method. And there's a lot of advantages to it, which maybe I'll get into later, but to quickly just suggest, that fee of $5.5 million is a management fee, right? That goes, but when you break it down and you think of there will be over 750,000 man hours put into this project for the 3 different aspects of it, between the new school, the remodel, and the repurposing of Idaho Falls. And when you break that down, right, that's really a little over $7 an hour for management. So it's a pretty reasonable number when you look at the project as a whole. Is it a big number? Yeah, but it's a huge project.
And on both websites, both of you go into detail on this issue. So we could spend all day talking about it, but go on their websites, read each side, and make your own decision. The next question is for Build Up District 91. In a flyer delivered to several homes, I got one just the other day, is frequently asked questions. One of the questions, how much will this increase my taxes? Response, it won't. District 91 will just maintain its current property tax levy for a longer period. How can you guarantee that taxes won't go up when the assessor sets the property values?
It's inaccurate to say that we're claiming that taxes won't go up. What is accurate to say is that the tax rate will not change. So the current tax rate of $4.24 per $1,000 of taxable value, that will stay flat. The district can service its current debt as well as oncoming debt and keep that rate where it is based upon growth in the tax base. And that comes from 2 areas. One is an increased valuation. The district doesn't have any control over that. That's done by the assessor's office. And then the second would be an increase in the number of homes that are being built, businesses that are being built. If you look around the district, there's considerable development going on, and so that also increases the tax base. So it's fairly simple mathematics. If you have a constant and a variable, and the variable goes up, then the product that comes from that is going to go up as well. So essentially, you're able to spread that out over a greater number of people, so that tax rate won't go up.
Do you know who passed this out? Do you know who's behind this? There is no name on it. But this document does say how much will my taxes increase. It won't. So.
I haven't seen that flyer.
Okay. And this could have been printed by anybody and passed out. I'm not saying you guys did it, but that is one of the documents.
We have several flyers that we've passed out, and they all have our name on them.
Okay. Lisa, Build Up District 91 released a list of the. Oh yes, please, if you want to respond.
I need to speak
I'm sorry.
to that,
Go ahead.
definitely, because that is one of our issues as well. They are using accounting numbers that fit their needs, and we are not sure we're on the same page with them with their accounting numbers. New business in the last few years has been less than 2% of the tax base. So basically, that does mean your taxes will go up to service this $104 million that is going to come through. Well, it is actually 99.5 because the district has reserved $5 million in other areas that we can put to that, put towards the bond. But make no mistake, the spending will be $104 million still, and that it will have to be serviced somehow. And we just feel like a wiser use of that $104 million is what we're asking for.
Again, another one of the issues that both of you have explained on your websites, so check that out. Lisa, Build Up District 91 released a list of their donors after the bond failed in November. Why doesn't your group do that?
Well, you know, just like construction management is legal, we don't feel necessarily like it's a wise use, especially the way D91 has used the construction management process. It is also legal for us to not release the names of our donors. We have very few donors, actually. There are a lot of us carrying this burden to try to represent those 4,000 people because we feel like those 4,000 people who we're representing are very likely lower income families who will be damaged, older patrons, you know, those on fixed incomes, that type of thing. And frankly, that is not required by the law, and we asked people and they prefer to be kept quiet because everybody is pretty much not wanting the backlash from being against a bond. It can get pretty ugly for them.
Build Up District 91, the school proposal, the site is on 49th South. Is there not a better location that might be a little bit more central for students or that would not require so many students to travel so far if the bond is passed?
We spent quite a bit of time looking at potential properties. There's been quite a bit of discussion around the property between Community Park and Home Depot. We spent a little over a year. We made an offer on that property. There was no counteroffer. At the end of the day, the individuals that own that property simply don't want to sell it. So the next closest property is the one that's been identified on 49th. People talk about that being out of town. It won't be out of town for very long. There are over 1,000 homes going in the southern portion of the district. 65th will be a new corridor, so the center of town is shifting. And the high school will shift with that. If we look at where our students come from that attend Idaho Falls High School, more and more, a higher and higher percentage of those students are coming from south of Sunnyside. So it really is, and will become even more so, the most central location in the current attendance area.
Thank you. Want to respond?
Yes, I know there is a much better site for IF High School. It's where it sits.
Okay, well, follow-up question to that. Your group has opposed the location. It's in an area, as Mr. Boland mentioned, that's seeing rapid growth. The price of land could be cheaper there than other spots. If you were to favor a new high school, where would you propose that it be built?
You know, I can't speak to that because I don't favor a new high school. That's not part of it, and so that is not part of what we have looked into. I do know that we have growth north of town where they're going to need a new elementary school. We do have growth south of town where they're going to need a new elementary school. And wherever that growth happens, what I do know is that the growth is happening outside of the city of Idaho Falls because the city of Idaho Falls taxes keep going up. So yes, it is cheaper to move outside of the city of Idaho Falls because of the tax load that we have. But we feel like it will be a much more of a benefit to Idaho Falls to keep a viable, vibrant high school right where it is. That's going to help Idaho Falls a lot.
Nate, can I respond to that? Thanks. So a couple of things. First, it's a little bit frustrating as you're learning in this discussion. The opposition is really good at saying no to everything. They've been invited to come to the table over the last year again and again. Hey, come to the table. Come tell us what your ideas. What would you be on board with? And as you can see, that's a little bit frustrating to deal with when the answer is always going to be no. When we can agree that there is a need, that's kind of frustrating. Secondly, it's not like Idaho Falls High School is being abandoned. It's being repurposed for something that will be much better use of the building and will benefit the students of District 91. The C-Tech program right now churns away students.
Okay.
We will be able to serve the students of District 91 better. The 1,200 that go to Idaho Falls High School in the new high school, the 1,200 that go to Skyline in the new remodeled high school, and the 300 to 400 that will be able to participate in the C-Tech program. We're looking for a solution that solves for all of the students and the patrons in District 91. We can't just do something that will only benefit a tiny portion. It has to benefit everybody, and that means that every group has to give up a little of something, because that's what it means to come to a table and collaborate, and that's exactly what the district has done.
Is there anything? Yes.
Yeah, I will tell you. I don't know if I've seen you at any of the school board meetings, but I've been to every school board meeting. I might have missed one for a year and a half. I've been to every one. I've been invited to participate once. I was invited to a school board member's house once. I was invited here this time. I have been there every time they have invited me. I have given input every time I have been invited to on this. And we do agree something needs to be done, and everybody does have to give a little, but not this way.
Okay. Last question for you guys before our closing statements. School districts, when bonds fail, they then try again, as you all are this time, and the amount lowers. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times before it's lowered, and there are findings, things that can be cut. Is that the plan if this bond doesn't pass this time around? Are we going to see this in November at an even lower rate?
I'll take that one. So the answer is we hope that it goes this time. I feel that the district, as they collaborated and they listened, they sent out surveys, they had focus groups, invited people in, really tried to understand what it was that wasn't, that made it fail the first time, listened to those 4,000 members or voters who had indicated that on the last bond, and then they took that information and really tried to go back and whittle down. It was tough choices, because on the first bond there really wasn't like there was fluff to cut, but they had to make tough choices in order to listen to what the voters had said. They wanted it to lower, so they found ways in order to do so. It wasn't easy. But I think that if that's where we're at today, we still have a great product that we're excited about and we think will be a great solution. But we've already made tough choices and had to make some really tough cuts in that decision.
So, but if it doesn't fail, it will be back on the November ballot?
That would be our intent.
Okay. All right. Time for closing statements. Lisa, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you having me here, and I appreciate you folks coming, and I am glad that we can agree that something needs to be done. I would love to come to an understanding of the wisdom of getting a bid process, of not putting the contractor in the driver's seat, not paying the architect so much money, some of those things that could happen if there was more of a bid process happening. I do appreciate that we do want to keep the downtown vibrant. I would like to point out that to bring together the technical high school is going to require more than the $2 million that they're asking for, and ask you to consider those who are low income, those who are on a fixed income, those who won't be able to get their kids to extracurricular activities clear south of town, those who rely on that high school there to keep their businesses vibrant, those of us who own apartments who I am trying to keep my rents low, but taxes are driving up my costs. And it will affect, these taxes are going to affect not just those who are happy to pay for their own children to go to school, but those who are willing to invest in our children in Idaho Falls, but it will put them in a bind to have to do this. So I appreciate that, and I hope that we can, I do hope that we can defeat this and maybe get something that is a little more in the middle, from 110 million to 104 million. Can we come a little more towards what we're asking?
Perfect. Thanks, Lisa. And thank you, Nate. This has been a really cool experience. To answer a few of Lisa's points, first, something to consider if you're worried about the bid process, go to the Build Up D91 website and all of your questions can be answered there. Secondly, when Idaho Falls High School was built, it was built in the middle of a field. So it is not uncommon for a new high school to be built in an area where there is going to be growth. And lastly, the CTEC program and the new high school and the new remodeled Skyline High School will benefit every single student in this district. The best thing we can do for high school students in District 91 is to provide them with the best possible facilities, the best teachers, and the best education. That start is what they need. That's the start I got that led to my life being great, where I am proud to be from Idaho Falls. And District 91 and the patrons here, I know that you agree with me and that you want to give our students and our teachers the absolutely best opportunity that we can give them. And this bond achieves that. Now, I want to point out that the opposition did not ever even touch my points about safety, modernization, and community. Those 3 points are the main reasons why we're passing this bond. You really need to consider safety before you decide whether you're going to vote yes or no on this bond. Safety in 2018 is a really important issue that I know every parent out there cares about. Secondly, the modernization of our classrooms and of our schools is exactly what needs to be done in order to bring our community to be relevant, competitive, and to give our teachers, students, and community exactly what we need and what we deserve. This is the right solution. And again, thanks. This was really fun.
Laura Herway, Superintendent George Bolin, and Brandon Lee with Build Up District 91. Lisa Keller with D91 Taxpayers. Both of them have websites. Please go on and read both sides, research it. I'm sure they're both open to taking questions.
Absolutely.
On Facebook, social media, wherever. The voting day is August 28th. If you are registered to vote in Idaho Falls, if you're in the school district, you can go out and vote. Again, a supermajority is needed to pass, so 66%. Thank you all very much. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.